Alright, we're going to move ahead to the crankshaft bearing here. It's a piece of 3/4 inch diameter brass I have chucked up in the lathe. I'm going to have to start by turning this down to 7/16 diameter, and that's for an overall length of 11/16. So I put my dial indicator here as a travel indicator, and it's zeroed out at the point where it's where I just faced that off, and again I got my carriage stop here as a precaution as well. So we'll start by getting this turned down to 7/16 of a diameter. Okay, so what I got going on here. Alright, so this, I already did most of this off camera. It's a piece of 3/4 inch diameter brass stock. I turned down part of it to 7/16 diameter. And this is going to be, I went a little further because I still have to part it off, and I got to clean that up and everything. But this here part, in the 7/16 diameter, has to be a length of 23/64 long from here to here, and then the remainder of this gets turned down to 3/8 of an inch diameter for a length of 21/64. So like I said before, this is longer than it needs to be. Gives me a little chance to check the diameter as I'm turning it, and that can get trimmed off very easily. Okay, so I've got a sand drill, got this all turned down. I'm going to sand drill it and come back with my one size under 3/16, which is an 11/64, and then go through with a reamer. Alright, put the lathe in back gears and just slow it down quite a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and ream this with a 3/16 reamer. Alright, so I'm going to, I got to trim this down here, and I don't know if you guys can see. Not the easiest thing to see, but this length here has got to be 21/64, which is 328 thousandths. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a initial cut. I got the dial indicator set up here as a travel indicator, and I'll take an initial cut, zero this out, and I'll measure this step and then see how much we have to take off. $381. So I got to get that down to 328. So that'll be 58 thousandths, I believe. Had to think about it. 53 thousandths. So I'm gonna take a couple of cuts. I'll keep an eye on that, and we'll go to 53 thousandths. So we'll do about 10 thousandths each. Alright, so I gotta take, so I can just squeeze my caliper in there, and I gotta take about 38 thousandths off of that. So I'll make a couple of cuts and just take some measurements as I go. $689. So I think I'm gonna call that good. Okay, so what I just did was I put the bearing in the vise, used my edge finder, found the front edge of the back jaw here, and moved it table in the Y direction, pushed it in 11/64 of an inch, and that's where the 3/16 hole gets drilled to fit the air inlet port, which is nothing more than a piece of 3/16 inch copper or brass tubing that'll get soldered in there. So that 3/16 of an inch hole, it only goes down about a 32nd of an inch, and it's just to locate it and just to provide a little lip, so it gives you something to solder to. So now this is centered on, well, this is forward the right distance, or offset the right distance, I should say. And I'm going to use this little inexpensive center finder here, and we'll locate the center line of this bearing. These are pretty inexpensive, yet they're pretty effective, simple to use. And that little mark lines up with that witness mark there. It's on center. So that's a little over center and right about there. So I'll lock the table in the x-axis now, and let me get a 3/16 drill bit. In there. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna flatten that off with an end mill first. I think that'll give me a nice flat surface to so I could drill on. I'll bring you back in a little bit when I get an end mill set up in there. Okay. Alright. Looks like that's it for that right now. I'll cut a piece of 3/16 tubing, 3/4 of an inch long like it calls for, and we'll solder that in place. Alright, so here's the bearing pretty much completed. It's got the little air intake port soldered in there. I did that off camera. This'll get Loctited into here like this, and there's a hole that gets drilled down the center line, a 1/16 of an inch hole that gets drilled straight down through here and in through the bearing there. Oh, my finger's in the way probably. And that little spot that I left when I was drilling all of the holes in the frame, that gets drilled into that hole. That's just a cross hole. That's going to bring air into the cylinder, and then the very end here will get plugged. So so that'll probably be the next part of this. Probably go ahead and Loctite this in next. I'm thinking that would be the best way to do that.